End of modern civilization. One time, there was a worldwide survey which was conducted by United Nations. And the question which was being asked in the survey was, would you please give your opinion about solutions to the food shortage in the rest of the world? Would you please give your opinions about the solution to the food shortage in the rest of the world? So, by the way, this survey became a very massive failure. United Nations initiated it, but the survey was a massive failure. Why? Because in Africa, people didn't knew what food meant. In Europe, people had no idea what shortage meant. In China, they didn't knew what opinion meant. In the Middle East, people had no idea what solution meant. In South America, people didn't know what please meant. And in United States, they didn't know what the rest of the world meant. So civilizations have come and gone. Like we hear about Harappan civilization, the civilization of Babylon. But what we are interested in is that civilizations have come and gone. But what are those factors which have led to the devastation of the civilizations? So social scientists and historians have done, archaeologists, geophysicists, they have done an extensive survey. And they came up with a list of 200 factors. They came up with a list of 200 factors which are responsible for the devastation of civilization. Alarmingly enough, 128 factors are prevalent in the modern day society. So whether it is moral degradation or cruelty or barbarism or soil or water or food. So 128 factors are present in the modern day civilization. Therefore, it is not wrong to say that modern day civilization is already a dead civilization. Sometimes a person is dead, but it simply flip flops for some time. That's what is happening with the modern day civilization. It's already a dead civilization. With 140 million babies aborted every year, with an Indian statistic of 2.5 lakh cows being slaughtered every single day, with an American statistic of 1.14 million animals slaughtered every hour. Where are we leading to? Such a mass mass scale drive for exploitation of resources, unrestricted exploitation of resources, unrestricted exploitation of resources, with such kind of animalistic flavors brimming up in relationships and dealings. It's already a dead civilization. So we see that that's why Emerson makes this beautiful statement. He says that it is not the census, not the size of the cities, nor the crops, but the kind of man that the country turns out, which is a true test of the civilization. So many civilizations have come and gone. Okay, so in this is a yeah. So in this picture, you can see, I mean, this cartoon. So they are excavating various ancient civilizations. Ancient Greece has some monuments. Ancient Egypt has the mummies, and the ancient Mayanas has some monuments. So in the last bottom right, you will see ancient us, and what people will find is plastic water bottles. And these fellows, you see these uh, these archaeologists. They are confused with the idea what kind of material is this, what has been left behind. Several theories on the collapse of civilizations, how civilizations were destroyed. Like, for example, Roman civilization, it was destroyed because of moral degradation, environmental neglect. If you kill the soil, you kill the civilization. So one of our devotees, he researched, Dr. Sahadev Prabhu, he researched on and figured out, he compiled 128 factors are available in modern day civilization. The Vedic civilization had survived because it is dependent on cows. Dependence on cows is not just a religious fervor or feeling, but it reflects symbiosis, holistic symbiosis, a holistic symbiosis with the, it reflects a holistic symbiosis. That's the first point. Because the dependence on cows, we see that there is acknowledgement of every living entity, and we will see a culture based on cows will not have any problem, uh, will be flourishing in terms of agriculture, in terms of milk. And such a civilization is in a uh, very stable harmony with nature. And because there is service to cows, the heart is soft, and therefore, with that soft heart leads to positive qualities, which are very much required for the upkeep and the growth of a civilization. So, but modern day, the end is already there. Korea, 40 million animals are buried alive. So Srila Prabhupada later on Bhagavad Gita in Geneva, 1974, saying, this is not good civilization. It will not stay. There will be catastrophe waiting. Many times it has happened, and it will happen because transgressing the laws of nature or the laws of God is most sinful. So we see in modern day civilization, there are so many kinds of revolutions which have taken place: industrial, scientific, digital, sexual, chemical, bio, nano, atomic, space, so on. But because, so in that sense, the speed has increased, but because directionality is lost, substantiality is lost, meaning is lost, therefore, it is a very risky situation. It is a very risky situation. It is a very risky situation. The modern day world is in. So it is like, unrestricted speeding up, and then slowly, what happens is that a bang, and with that bang, we will see that everything is destroyed. So Vedic life was based on was working on the pace of the cow and the bull, which was giving a local autonomy, which was giving a complete footing to land and cow. That was the measure of wealth. But nowadays, the measure of everything is artificial. Everything is so much dependent. So you see, Vedic constructs are very powerful constructs, be it spiritual or be it day-to-day life. Vedic constructs are well thought of, very reasonable and very powerful constructs. Like say, for example, the Vedic construct about an economy based on land and cows is a very solid and reasonable construct. Because if everybody has land and cows, if you have land, then there is no problem. You can grow grains. Yeah, I mean, you can grow, whatever you need to eat, you can grow actually on the land. Similarly, cows. So one can have good health. Land, you can have fruits, vegetables, cows, and then in that way, one is self-sufficient. So local self-sufficiency is a Vedic mantra. But the modern day, we can see that the mantra had been going on as globalization. The whole world is a global village, and this and that. But you see, very recent times we are seeing the effects of that. So with this whole crisis of COVID, and then the rumors about this COVID being a biological weapon which has been in cold released. So the talks, and then there are grins against China and so on, and the relationship between China and other countries. So we see that now one of the factors which is coming up, or to all the nations, one of the factors which is becoming evident in the front of the eyes of all the nations, which we saw last year, is that everybody is now getting awakened to the fact that we should have our own industries manufacturing everything. Let's not have dependence on, say, one nation. Why dependence on only one nation? So the whole effort now, this has been happening in India, this has been happening in America, Europe. So then everybody is promoting, okay, their own industries to manufacture. That drive happened in India also, with subsidy on SMEs, and with subsidy on SMEs, and encouragement for manufacturing units, and so on and so forth. So you see what, so you can see that whenever we go away from the Vedas, it is easy to go away from Vedas, but then due course of time one learns the same lesson what Vedas are teaching. Now again, the whole drive is towards, okay, in a local setting, create self-sufficiency. Is it not? But that is exactly what the Vedic mantra was. In a local setting, create self-sufficiency. So that's the point. That is the point. With the modern day massive usage of the environmental resources, the statistics are pointing out that the world would not even last in the next 50 to 100 years. It'll be very difficult to for even habitation. Actually, the speed at which we are uh, uh, consuming the resources and creating disturbance in the natural balance, environmental balance also. I remember when I was in Australia, then there was one day all the schools in Australia, the children were doing protests, and the topic of the protest schools were closed. The topic of that protest was that please allow, I mean, please leave a world in which we can live in at least peacefully. Yeah, it was an environment. The issue was environment. The modern day uh, pace at which the world, the nature's resources are being exploited. So the next generation won't even have adequate necessities to live and thrive on. That's the point. That is the point. So let us see some of these factors affecting the modern civilization. Okay, so we can see that at different times, the world had been very, very close to warfare and therefore a nuclear holocaust. But the amazing thing to note is that the world is still going on actually. But in one sense, the world is still. But what we can understand, the world is still going on, is because the world is still going on because of the spiritual drive which which acharyas like Srila Prabhupada have created ever since 1970s. So because of that, we see that the phase of heavy sinful reaction like warfare is not coming up. It's not coming up. It's not coming up. Therefore, we will see that actually it is this spiritual drive and spiritual consciousness. Prabhupada based the movement on distributing Bhagavad Gita. And devotees were so enthusiastic that they would rain the streets, the airports, the bus terminus with the spiritual books. And because of this massive rain, the people's hearts are getting transformed. And that cumulative effect we are seeing that still things are going on positive in the world around. Still things are going on positive. Still things are moving on in the world around. Okay, so this is modern civilization as Lerner puts it up. They civilize what's pretty by putting up a city where nothing that is pretty can grow. They civilize left, they civilize right. Till nothing is left and nothing is right. This is Lerner about modern civilization. So we wanted to just walk through 8 out of those 128 factors. The whole list of 128 is going to be too exhaustive, but we will just to get a glimpse of we just wanted to get a glimpse of where we are landing, actually, to get some visualization and to invoke a thought process about which direction we are going to. The first one is food scarcity. So food prices are shooting up every month. Every other day, food prices keep shooting up like that. I remember it was yeah, I remember some years before. It was this month of June. I mean May, June only. And in KJP we had organized a workshop, the software training workshop for students, devotee students of various colleges all around India. So around 400, 500 students were about to come, like that, and we were making arrangements. So I remember we wanted to, I wanted to purchase rice, rice stacks in bulk so that we can get cheap. So I had gone one time to all these wholesale sellers in KGP, and they were quoting a high price. Then I asked them, "Arey, why this price is high? I'm lower on the price." They said, "नहीं नहीं नहीं, वो क्या हो गया है कि वो राजधानी एक्सप्रेस है ना, कहाँ राजधानी एक्सप्रेस क्या हो गया है ना?" इसे नहीं, वो राजधानी एक्सप्रेस का एक्सीडेंट हो गया ना, वो इसलिए प्राइस बढ़ गया. अच्छा, that time Rajdhani accident happened, you know. So I said okay, and then I thought okay, 2-3 days later, the price will go down. So I went for 3-4 days later, and I asked him. The price was even higher. Then I asked him, "Arey, what is the reason now?" He said, "नहीं नहीं, वो क्या हो गया, गर्मी ज्यादा हो गया ना, इसलिए प्राइस बढ़ गया." अच्छा, गर्मी ज्यादा हो गया इसलिए प्राइस बढ़ गया, तो बड़ी अजीबोगरीब रीजन है. Then I said okay fine, ठीक है, कुछ दिन और बाद आता हूँ. So I didn't purchase the rice. I went after 4-5 days. So what had happened is that because गर्मी ज़्यादा बढ़ गया था, that was the reason. So actually after 3-4 days it rained. So it rained then not heavy but little bit. Because it rained, I thought ठीक है अभी जाता हूँ, अभी तो गर्मी कम हो गया है ना. Then I went there. He quoted even higher price. I said अरे अभी क्या हो गया? बोला बारिश हो गया ना तो प्राइस तो बढ़ेगा. अरे तुम्हारा धूप होता है तो प्राइस बढ़ता है, राजधानी गिर जाता है तो प्राइस बढ़ता है, एंड बारिश होता है तो प्राइस बढ़ता है ना, कुछ भी होता है तुम्हारा प्राइस बढ़ता चला जाता है constantly. That is the point actually. So much of it is uh, this is what is happening. So in one sense, the so modern day ways of growing food are like reaping the mother earth. Yes. So the modern day ways of growing food. So we have seen all these chemically oriented ways of growing food. It is very risky and very hazardous. All these chemicals in the name of fertilizers. Uh, initially to increase the productivity of Mother Earth, it has been seen, like we saw in Punjab's Green Revolution. When these fertilizers came, the yield was 2, 3, 4 times, and then after 2-3 years, what had happened was that the land was becoming barren. So the land was losing all its potency for production. Why? Because of this massive drive to exploit Mother Earth. Similarly, because of this use of these chemical fertilizers, like it says Monsanto as one company which provides that. So because of the use of these chemical fertilizers, we see that the vegetables and fruits are quite toxic. So in fact, the WHO statistics say that India vegetables and fruits are 1,000 times more toxic than world average. Because of these fertilizers, the farmers get cancer. Hyderabad cancer wards are full. Cancer wards are full. And now, and then it is said, okay, 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh farmers commit suicide every year. Why do they do that? Because the modern day, because of having these modern mechanized ways of growing crops, then you have to purchase specific seeds. You have to purchase fertilizers and the mechanical ways of the mechanized ways of plowing and so on. So that requires a lot of capital, investment. And then what happens is that when the production comes, the farmers are not paid enough. So they had to invest a lot and they are not paid enough. But there are this third so some third party vendors take it from them, and they are and these mediators are selling to the common public, and then it is these mediators who are earning profit. Like I remember there was one IS officer, he was telling me, uh, he was an IPS officer actually. He hailed from a village near Tarkeshwar. So he was telling that in his village, he was telling me that near his village actually there is this aloo production which takes place. So he was selling actually the farmer is paid 5 rupees per kg for the aloo, and that aloo comes to Sialda market, and we get it at least in 25-30 rupees. But the farmer gets 5 rupees only. So who is making the profit? The third party saukar vendors in between mediators. The farmer is not getting much. So there is acute food shortage. Acute food shortage. Then the next point which is being mentioned here is that 10% of the world population, which means America, Japan, and Europe, which is 10% of world population, they use 85% of world resources. That's why there is such a shortage. Okay, so this is so this is the famous picture actually, which won this what is this award? Pulitzer Award, I think. Yeah, Pulitzer, I think so. So here was this photographer, and he's saying that this child is about to die because of starvation. There is a vulture waiting to eat the child. So such a ghastly scene. So Srila Prabhupada is speaking that we have got experience. And sometimes we find the mango season profuse mango. People cannot end by eating, and sometimes there is no mango. The supply is in the hand of Krishna through his agent. Yeah, this we can see even now, right? Just like nowadays, there is a good amount of supply of mango, but some seasons there is no mango, hardly any mango. So now you can get mango in this season. Right now you can get mango at 40 rupees, no? kg. But sometimes you don't get it in 200 rupees also, 150, 200. So the earth can produce people profusely if people are honest and God conscious. There cannot be any scarcity. Therefore, it is said, "Kamam vivarsha parjanya." The God gives. So God, Krishna fulfills all our desires. So we have to depend on Krishna. Everything is in the control of Krishna. Now, Prabhupada is saying further that it is not because there is overpopulation, because of which there is scarcity of food. No, that is not the cause. The cause is as soon as people become godless, the supply will be stopped. That time is coming. So when the supply becomes godless, people become godless, the supply is stopped. Just like a child will get pocket money, but suppose he misuses the money which is given to him, then his pocket money will be stopped. Suppose he has bought cigarette, he's misusing the money, the pocket money will be stopped. Yeah. This is the modern day picture of the world. So the global special report. So many people are killed and they died of starvation, AIDS, and sex slavery, and so on. The next factor is water scarcity. So in Australia, there is a department of water police actually. They keep a track how much water people are using. Now you can be fined heavily. So yeah, so we have seen the modern day the planet is drying up. Yeah, so most of the see we can see extreme traits. The point is, we can see extreme traits in the world around. Extreme traits. We can see extreme traits in the world around. Just like, we will see that uh, the rivers are drying. We can see that the deserts are marching ahead. Like just 200 kilometers from Beijing is a massive desert, and it is marching per year at 5 to 10 kilometers per year. It is marching ahead. So somewhere there is flood, somewhere there is drought. This type of extreme imbalanced rates are symbolic or a warning to humanity who has become so expert at it. So there is water scarcity all around. 18,000 crores project, and this was to basically purify and recycle the sewage water and supply it back to the Bangalore city. Plain terms, and then purifying it, or and then sending it back to the city. Okay, there seems to be some issue with the slideshow. So here in this picture, NDTV is showing the scene in Banaras in 2030. Yes, 2008. See where is Ganges. Therefore, when I was in Europe, I did not know what has happened now. There was scarcity of rain. England is making plan to import water. Just imagine. There's a scientist program. There is no enough water in the sea. So there is enough water in the sea, proper saying, but you cannot use it. So that is the hand of God. Unless God helps, Krishna helps. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sa charachara. The vast ocean, although the water is there, you cannot use one drop. You're so controlled. So this is Prabhupada in 1976. So when Prabhupada first went to Hyderabad, for 3-4 years there was no rain. Then Prabhupada said, "Oh, no rain? Why is it so?" And then Prabhupada asked all the devotees, they all started kirtans. Uh, so Prabhupada said, this is the secret of rainfall, kirtans actually. If you perform yagya, there will be cloud. Parjanya dhanna sambhavaha. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanya dhanna sambhavaha. This prescription is there. As soon as you stop performing yagya, you take pleasure in sporting, not yagya. So now big cities, they have got big Olympian sporting, but no yagya performance. So why should there not be scarcity of rain? And as soon as there is scarcity of rain, there is scarcity of food grains. Yes. Yeah. The same thing devotees did in Australia. 6 years there was the drought and no rain. And then devotees, they did Harinam Sankirtan, they chanted. Uh, and then immediately while the devotees were doing kirtans on Australian sensuous within the Swami, then immediately it started raining. You know? Immediately it started raining. Yeah. So this is the third reason. Mahatma Gandhi used to say the world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Uh, so the resources of the modern day world are being depleted. So here the example is given of petrol. How everything we use is based on petroleum. Industries, machines, everything is based on petroleum. So we are saying that, but the petrol resources are going to be depleted. Our usage per day is 88 million barrels of petrol, and there is no substitute to petrol because it takes millions of years to make it. So here it is being said, Brahmaji actually hit the petrol very deep, but modern day man is so adamant he is squeezing out petrol from there. So you see this man what he's doing. Yeah, more than 5,000 species become extinct every year, a rate 10,000 times faster than pre-human extinction rates. Half of the forest that originally covered 46% of. Okay, so ethical and spiritual ruination. Yeah, people go on doing scams and scams with no objection. So we see modern day media is being filled up with all kinds of ideas about how to degrade the society further and further. So we see many concepts actually are first flashed in media and then the society is accepting it. Many of these unfortunate animalistic concepts are all prompted in media, like maybe there is like living culture, like many deviant ideas. They're all prompted. It's okay to change partners. It's okay to try out so many girlfriends, boyfriends, before marriage. Uh, uh, so many kinds of deviant ideas. Like there are TV shows in which people are talking about weird things. Like suppose a lady is talking, how she slept with her daughter's boyfriend, and so on and so forth. So very these kind of ideas, uh, a 20-year-old girl getting married to a 45, 50-year-old man, vice versa, and so on and so forth. All kinds of weird notions which are coming in. And then these movies are filled in with all these gay culture, lesbian culture. These are all now. So in this way, there is full flaring of the sensual and the bodily focus is being flared so rampantly. And then we are wondering what is happening to the society, what is happening to the world around, and what is happening to the world around. When sensuality and violence are being uh, projected and promoted so vigorously, what will be the fabric, the quality of modern day society? Very morose, very morose. Therefore, you can see places where sensual drive is much more, people's faces are much more sullen, no? Because their lifestyles are even much more empty. And this is one feature you can see in the Western world. Their lifestyles are so much empty. Actually, they are no, in one sense, they are so close that there is this constant fear that somebody should not come and exploit me, because that's what they have seen right from their childhood. So people are very reserved, people are very close. Why? Because there is this constant fear which is taking place. The faces are very sullen, lives are very dry, and so on. The conceptions are very vague. Now, even today, what to speak of 1970s Srila Prabhupada's times, even today, for a Westerner, to be able to understand that spirituality is not just some fantasy which you get by taking drugs, or these the psychedelic drugs, and so spirituality is not that. It's not a hallucination in a fully intoxicated and drugged state. No, it is a focus. No, it is basically a focus onto awakening our real nature. Onto opening the doors or broadening the perspectives and the realms of reality in front of us. So for a Westerner to understand this is very difficult. Even today, what to say of 1970s? So 1970s it was there, but even now this whole disease is going on. Very solid. Very solid. And people think it's normal. So character is the last thing people are worried about. That the last thing people are worried about. So there is this moral relation which brings out an animal out of a man. And unfortunately, this is going on today. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, you see corruption and exploitation. So there is this new study which is saying that radiation causes brain tumors, infertility, headache, nausea, cancer. Now there's a businessman. He's saying no, bury it. The violence. Yes, nowadays violence and wars. Actually, in the form of in the form of one of the things is in what form? One of the things is wars, famines, droughts, natural calamities, adhyatmic place that way. So today's war has shifted from countries to civilization. Yes, civilization to civilization. War has shifted. Yeah, there is war within the family as well. One time, one of our devotees, he met an acquaintance. We asked that acquaintance to come and tell us what is going on. So he became very embarrassed, no, the gentleman. So that's what is happening around actually. Many times, boys are playing around with girls, like paper napkin, like person changes dress, people change fasteners. The girls are also playing around like that. There are many people actually, uh, uh, like I was hearing the other day a story of, uh, wife and girlfriend. So they decided to marry, but they thought that okay, let's have some earning before marriage. Real story actually. So then this girl married somebody else, and then put up a case and all that this person is exploiting, abusing, and all that, and got some good amount of money out, a few lakhs, like that, and then this boyfriend girlfriend they happily married. So that's what they wanted, but they just wanted to earn some money in between. So that's what is going on. And now such kind of insensitivity, such kind of clash, such kind of fights. That's all. That is what is being the modern day notion. Such kind of cruelty. That's that's the next point. So in Bangladesh, there is this pest control, technique in which what they do is that they take a rat, they stitch actually uh, the excreta passing area of the rat, and then they leave it. They leave him around. So after some time, when he gets the call of nature, he cannot pass it because there is no hole, which allows that excreta to go out. And this rat is in such a state of desperation. You see, it's a very painful situation. And this rat is in that painful situation. He's roaming around here and there, and that situation is so desperate. Ultimately, the rat dies because he is not able uh, to perform excretion. So ultimately, he dies. But then, in that frenzied state, he kills up, he eats up all the pests and all. In a very so, to what degree the man can go insensitive? This is just one demonstration. This is just one example. One example. So we have so much ammunition, so much bomb that 400 Earths can be destroyed. When the nuclear weapons were first released on Earth, actually, their bodies had turned white, their limbs were melting. That was the kind of nuclear reaction which was taking place. So so these bombs are going to be used someday. So they're existing. So one time, one of our devotees was in Mayapur. So he was sharing a room with a Siberian devotee. This devotee very humble. This devotee, uh, so he was sitting, so they were sharing this room. This devotee actually in the night he put all out machine. So that Siberian devotee said, no, no, Prabhu, you should not use all out, use mosquito net. And he said, why? Mosquitoes. Then he said, no, 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 damn mosquitoes, we need to respect. This devotee was very inspired. He says, my God, this Siberian devotee, how powerful, how deep faith he has. And he asked him how he came to Krishna consciousness and all. So the Siberian devotee revealed that he was a journal. He was an army journal in Siberia. And so his job was to go village to village actually and kill people. Single-handedly, his unit had killed thousands of people actually. So they would just make men stand in a row and just kill them one by one, like that. So he was very ruthless, very cruel, the Siberian general. And then he was in one of the village. They were just lining up the men to kill them, and they saw one boy. So as he was, they were stabbing one by one. There was this boy who was standing, young boy, and this journal, he became very much agitated seeing this boy. He said, I have seen so many people and they have such fear in their eyes. Why don't you have fear? I want to see fear in your eyes. This boy said, you cannot kill me. And he said, no, I can kill you right now. And this boy said, no, this is the body, but you really cannot kill me. So the Siberian general, he wanted to know how this boy is so fearless. He caught him, so first he beat him up, then he caught him, he dragged him, far off. Then this boy started telling him about that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. He started telling about Bhagavad Gita. He gave him Bhagavad Gita. This man, he read Bhagavad Gita, and then he became devotee. He was excited about Srila Prabhupada's. He was excited about seeing the effect of the spiritual practice in his colleague. So he became a devotee. So he became a devotee. So you see, the point is that this cruelty, this insensitivity, this animalism can only be countered by becoming Krishna conscious. And just like the Siberian devotee. So now he was not even wanting to harm a mosquito. Not even wanting to harm a mosquito. So one devotee in Mayapur, he was telling that that actually now he's a pujari, in Mayapur, worshipping the Lord, being completely absorbed in deity services. So he was sharing that now he's a pujari. He was saying that before coming to Krishna consciousness, he was a butcher. Can you imagine what kind of life he must be having? He was a butcher. So, yeah. You see, all the our lauded technological progress, our very civilization, is like axe in the hand of a pathological criminal. The civilization is such that one has to be patient and it will be self-destroyed. That's Gandhi. So now, again, I know not with what weapons the World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. That's going to happen. Violence. Yeah, so I drop on you and you drop on me, drop on the same. Both of us will finish. This is going to be happening. People are so degraded. So unless one takes to Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of being saved. So Prabhupada is saying all the grains in a grinding mill, they get smashed. Is it not? But only one grain who takes shelter of the center, that is the pivot, that grain is not smashed. Similarly, modern civilization is such that everyone will be smashed. And one who takes shelter of the central point, that is Krishna consciousness, he will not be. Pankte pratijanahi nami bhakta pranashyati. Yeah. The sixth factor is health issues and diseases. Yeah. So medical industry actually is such that they discover a medicine first and then they discover a disease for it. Yeah, this is very true. When I was starting PhD, then in KGP the culture is that you have to go to various professors in the department and they will explain about their PhD. If they like you and you like them, then they can sign that they are ready to take. And then among the people who are ready to take you, then you can choose one of them. That's so I had gone to the room of one professor and in CSE, and then I was being explained the project. And what was the project actually? To use artificial intelligence on there are these big medical repositories where the details about which type of protein structure is used for which kind of disease, which is the cure for what is given actually. So this was an NLP engine actually based on AI NLP engine, which was supposed to actually do the reverse processing. And okay, given a medicine which is there, then it was supposed to go into the database and find out which disease this medicine can best suit to. So many times what happens is that they launch a medicine for a particular disease, but it doesn't work there. So then they try to figure out what it works and launch it for that. So that is the same point which is being mentioned here. Yeah. 50% Americans suffer from STIs. So many diseases without any cure. Health and diseases because of the modern day lifestyle actually. So you will see, just like the recent update on, see, whatever we know about these flu and all, so most of these are zoonotic. Most of these, including COVID, as the reason what has been told to us. I mean, if it is a biological weapon, it's another story. But as of now, the reason which is known to us is that it is zoonotic disease. So now, why are we mankind catching zoonotic diseases? Because of the insatiable drive to eat animals. Nothing else. So now you see now so many mental centers and rehabilitation and counseling centers and mental health outlets are coming up people because people are going crazy in today's modern day lifestyle. The next reason is finance. Yes. So the whole concept of finance, the whole foundation is a very hazy hoax. So it's finance is a very big hoax in that sense because so why finance is a big hoax? Because anytime the share market may crash, anytime the economy may crash, anytime the wave of recession may come, yeah, return of slavery, yes. So why return of slavery? Because uh, why return of slavery? Because modern day people are so dependent on jobs, and industries they are very expert in making sure that you don't get to know much. Like say for example, many of these consulting software companies, what they do is that they hire many team members. So one team member is fixed for a very small amount of role. So you see, breaking down, making a software solution uh, is a huge task. So it involves many people to work on. So somebody is required to understand customer needs, frame it into problem statement, and then explicitly make visualizations on that problem statement, so that you know what is the problem which is to be solved. You know, and somebody else should start. Somebody else should uh, should do a test drive, with simple tools, just see that the concept is working on our proof of concept. Then somebody has to start development. So somebody develops the database, somebody develops the front end, somebody does the back end, somebody does only testing. That is the point. That is the point. So that's just return to slavery and nothing else. Return to slavery. Anytime the wave of recession comes, so many people commit suicide, so many people had to take to prostitution jobs to make their ends meet and so on. And our economy, our world is so much, uh, so much dependent on oil. The oil reserves get depleted towards winter. So any small thing happens, the prices shoot up. The same commodity which was available, the same commodity goes here and there. So I remember uh, when this last wave of recession comes. So we had seen that there was this case of one lady who had visited our temple, and because her expressions were so weird, the devotees were out of fear, they wanted to talk to her and check out. So they made her sit. We're not speaking anything. They gave her prasad, gave her water and everything. Finally, she spoke. Actually, she was about to go to commit suicide by jumping down from the railway bridge near Pune camp. The railway station is in Pune camp. But on the way, she saw the temple. She thought, okay, let me take darshan and go. So she wanted to jump down that railway bridge and commit suicide. Actually. Why? Because she said her husband, he was a software engineer. So his salary was 60,000 rupees. He was staying near the software park and all that. So he had taken a flat, 1 crore flat. And they were living happily just 2, 3 years. They were married. And this lady had a few months baby. Newly married actually. So now the recession came, the husband lost his job. Because he's so dependent on job, now he thinks that he's completely helpless. So we became so much in anxiety, the loan had to be paid and all that, lost his job and all. So he committed suicide, leaving the wife and the child. And now his wife was following the same track. But fortunately, she met devotees, and devotees, encouraged her, and devotees arranged that she gets some teaching, some small job, teaching job, like somewhere, and then by that she can earn some amount, and then go on forward like that. So this is the point, actually. Very flimsy. Everything is like I was in Australia when so when I was getting, I was getting my stipend money. Then I was getting money, and that time, the conversion rate was 50 rupees. Now, after a few months, when I wanted to uh, transfer funds to India, then the dollar 45. So the 45, so that means you're not going to get you're only going to get a replacement $1 equal to 45, not 50. And the recession was happening, then it was 42. So the point is that, so it is 42, and then you have some $10,000, and the same valuation of $10,000, you're losing $80,000 because it has changed from 50 to 40. So the world is very probabilistic nowadays. The eighth reason is cruelty. It is said that actually 40,000 cows are transported from India to Bangladesh every day, for being slaughtered. So there are so we have seen how that every single day in the month there's 40,000 cows. So many cows are being transported from Punjab and Rajasthan to Calcutta area. So these cows are actually squeezed up in a truck. 40, 50 cows in one truck. Can you imagine how much is squeezed up? And then they are transported every single day to be slaughtered. Actually, the mechanized slaughterhouses in a matter of seconds it can kill thousands of animals like that. And many times governments change, the new government coming, the human civilization. Yeah. You see, Mahatma Gandhi said that mother cow in many ways is better than the mother who gave us birth, because mother cow provides the mother who gave birth provides milk only for 1 year or two. The mother cow will give milk for us for life, whole life. So the situation on this world is very alarming and very precarious. And this situation has a very clear lesson for us. The lesson is that the lesson is that if we cast aside God, then we see that whichever direction we see a completely messed up performance. We see everything topsy-turvy. We see that the problems and the miseries, the problems have expanded, the problems have grown, the problems have not ended. There is, in fact, the end has become even further. So therefore, we have to be a healing cell in the world. You see, in life, there are only two options. One is we can be a part of problem, a part of solution. If we surrender to God, we can be like a healing cell. But one who doesn't surrender to God is like a cancerous cell. It produces, it's like a cancerous cell, which actually eats the very fabric of modern day society. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, used to say that Krishna consciousness is an urgency. Krishna consciousness does not depend on material subject matter. It is an urgency that one needs to undertake to save the world, to save oneself. Uh, to save the world, to save oneself. So Krishna consciousness is the urgency. And if this Krishna consciousness is there, then there is this holistic vision actually. Then there is no undue exploitation, and there is going to be synergy, and therefore we will see that all these problems of the world can be solved. So yes, the modern day civilization is towards its end, but we can end the end uh, by changing uh, our focus from material to spiritual. Uh, Changing our focus from material to spiritual action. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada had said, exaggeration, but Prabhupada had said actually that this movement, the Krishna consciousness movement, will go down in the pages of history for having saved the world at its greatest hour of need. And therefore, if you practice intensely and wholeheartedly, uh, then we can demonstrate how by the practice of Krishna consciousness, life individually and collectively can become so sublime and powerful. And that will be like a torchlight to this world actually, which can change the face of the world, which can change the face. Uh, Therefore,